national anthem of Australia. Prior to that, they had played the anthem for the United States. And we are still minutes away from the kickoff between the United States and Australia. These two teams met in Blaine, Minnesota a short while ago. USA won that. Here's the USA starting lineup with Scurry again in goal.
Take a look at the right back spot. Heather Mitts gets the nod today. She earned significant playing time over the course of the preparation. In the midfield, Christine Lilly, keep an eye on her. And then starting up top, number 12, Cindy Parlow, inserted for Abby Wambach, who is sitting out due to yellow card accumulation.
Picture taking before the match begins. Australia will come in with a very familiar lineup. Kell is the goalkeeper from the last World Cup.
Captain Cheryl Salisbury gets her 100th start in the back line wearing number 5. In the midfield, keep an eye on Joanna Peters. She has been their creating offensive player. And then up top, Sarah Walsh. Breakaway speed, very fast player, going to be difficult for the United States to deal with her.
The captain for the United States is Julie Foudy. And for Julie, this will be her 259th international match. For Heinrichs, the head coach of the USA, in a position to get her team to the quarterfinals, obviously, with the 6 points, but we'll see if they win the group. And at the end of the day, hopefully we'll be able to tell you what the scenarios are and who they will face next in the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, the captain for Australia is Cheryl Salisbury, and it'll be for her 100th international appearance. So we congratulate her for reaching that stage. And Adrian Sandtrack is the head coach. The last time we had seen Adrian at the Olympics was in the 2000 Olympics. He was an assistant coach on the men's side, and he's made some changes for this team. One of the things he told us earlier, Laurie, was that he wanted his team to be more proactive, not reactive.
Well, this is such a young squad for Australia, and I've been very impressed by the way that Adrian Sandtrack has been treating his team in the newspapers with the media. He's very positive. He is the kind of coach that strokes his players and tells them about all the good things that they're doing along the way. USA versus Australia. The Aussies have never beaten the United States in 15 tries, but the games are getting closer. And the gap, as my partner said the other day, it's getting narrower. We've seen that with some of these other countries. I mean, we're going into a situation here, Laurie, where you're ready for the quarterfinals, and there's a possibility that China or Sweden may not make it. Well, we've sat down and looked at all the scenarios, JP, and we have to wait until the end of this match to be able to share any of that. It's just too complicated at this point, and to not have Sweden move on or China move on would be a real mistake in this first World Championship. USA on the ball in the white shirts and the blue shorts. The Aussies are in the green and gold. Upfield, United States attacking with Parlow in place of the suspended Abby Wambach, who will be able to come back in the quarterfinals. Australia picking it up. Have to watch for the speed of Australia. We saw that in Blaine, Minnesota, the last time these two clubs met. On the right side, that's Davies, and it's knocked away. Christine Lilly was over there defending. JP, one of the important things for the United States to establish right away is where they are going to press and where they are going to defend. That was the #1 thing that head coach April Heinrichs told me she was disappointed with her team. It was very low pressure, almost equaling no pressure against Brazil. The U.S. has to defend early, establish themselves as the more dominant team, and put Australia back on their heels. The second thing that the United States is going to focus in on is making sure that they try and get a cohesive midfield, both on the attacking side and the defending side, and we talked about that in the opener. The last thing that the United States needs to do is capitalize on the space in front of the Australian back line. Australia has a tendency to drop and concede the space in front of them. It'll be difficult for the U.S. to get behind, so the United States has gone to Cindy Parlow, who's very good at holding space, holding the ball in front of the back line of Australia and creating combinational plays to get through that back line.
Christine Lilly will take it up the wing and get it back. Try to play it in the middle for Boxx. That's cut off. That's Joanne Peters, one of 3 players for Australia, who has spent some time in the WUSA. All the way back to Scurry, who rolls it quickly. We'll check out how the USA plays today. Speed of play, non-existent really in that first half against Brazil. And part of that was Brazil had so much ball possession. That's unusual. USA normally has the edge there. Mitts will play it up. That's tackled away. A hard challenge there as the ball goes to the right side. Heather Mitts cutting it back to Joy Fawcett. Reddick in the center to Markgraf. Markgraf being pressured, lofts it high. The quick touch there to Wagner. She got clipped as the ball was cleared away. That's Shipard. She's the youngest one in this tournament, age 16, starting in the Olympics. Foul was called by the Romanian referee, Cristina Ionescu.
One of the things that the United States expected to see from Australia was for them to play for fouls and play for set pieces. They're very strong in the air. Cheryl Salisbury will usually go forward. The services are clean, and so watch for Salisbury, who stands at 5'11", trying to get her head on this ball.
Garriock was going to put it down. She scored the other day in the victory over Greece. First Australia win in either an Olympic or World Cup game on the women's side. Garriock lofts it up on a bounce. Brianna Scurry has it. Brianna wasn't tested in the Greece game. She was certainly tested in that first half, especially against Brazil, and came up strong. Fawcett will switch. And Parlow didn't see that one coming. It goes out. Throw in Australia. From the right side, it's Davies. Davies on that World Cup squad that we saw in 2003. Give Australia credit, they made the last 3 World Cups. They just haven't played well in them, and that's the next step for them. Qualifying is one thing, now they need results. Here's Mitz. Cut off by Shipard. Sasha Wainwright, that's blocked. Shipard will get it back. All the way back it goes. Salisbury, the captain, playing it back to Kell, and Cassandra Kell will clear. U.S. getting it back, right side. 2 straight wins for the United States. Looking to make it 3 and head into the quarterfinals, where the competition can be expected to be stiffer. Throw in far side for Australia. 7 is a player to watch. Sarah Walsh with her speed. She victimized the USA in that game in Blaine, Minnesota.
Sarah Walsh has that breakaway speed, that one thing that a coach can't teach. It's very dangerous to have to deal with that, and certainly when I spoke with April Heinrichs, the head coach of the United States, she mentioned to deny the ball into her feet. Do not allow her to turn and start running at your back line is the best way to stop her.
USA bottled up on that far side as Australia takes over. Cutting ball from Alagich. Long from Garriock. That's that speed, but Fawcett had the better angle, and Joy will clear it away. Joy at 36 still has good wheels. Not as fast as Walsh, but if you play that angle right, like she did, she can catch up.
Well, there was a good opportunity there, JP, to see how calm and collected Joy Fawcett continues to be. Her experience in that back line just calms everyone. Her composure with the ball at her feet is fantastic. And
for Joy, like Mia Hamm and Julie Foudy, we're all expecting that this will be their last international tournaments. Australia trying to move it up the middle. USA converging. Back for Foudy. Into the middle. Shannon Boxx. Feeling some pressure there. She plays it back. Reddick will switch. Ball stayed in play on the side. And now some contact, and the foul goes against Australia. Free kick, USA.
So watch here as the hands go up on the back. Immediately that is called as a foul. Wagner does a nice job to organize her feet and enter into that head position from straight up and down. But as soon as the arm goes up at any level, that's considered a foul.
On that right side, Heather Mitz with 1 international goal. It came against Canada. She was looking for Parlow. Back for Boxx. Shannon Boxx sending it all the way back. U.S. still trying to find this rhythm. I know it's early, but that's one of the things they'll be working on today. Combination play that was missing, especially in that first half against Brazil. It was better in the second half, but the first half was one they'd rather forget about. Well,
the support for the United States already is better. Christine Lilly is higher in the attacking end, which is allowing the outside backs to get forward. Kate Markgraf has more space to work in, and I think that that's allowing the United States to put pressure on Australia much earlier than they did against Brazil.
Off the Davies throw-in. Davies will get it back on the right side. 12 players out of the 18 for Australia played in the last World Cup. They're a bit younger team right now, averaging 23 years of age. United States, average age is 28, so there's a good 5 years difference between these two teams. Davies will have another throw in. No one open, at least not upfield. Now she'll give it a second try. That was off Peters. Boxx breaks it up and had a tackle away from her. And the foul is going to be called on Reddick for taking down Walsh. Free kick coming up for Australia. 8 minutes gone. Sent back, but there was no trailer. And Foudy will pick it up. Julie Foudy keeping it on the ground. Might be the first touch so far for Hamm here in the 9th minute. She'll try to play it long. Parlow couldn't bring it down. Wagner tries to help out. That ball is sliced to the far side for Wainwright. Hamm going back after it, but Australia will get possession. Sasha Wainwright going long. That'll go out of play. USA on the throw-in from just about the halfway line. That was Mitz to Boxx, who stumbled there, and Australia picks it up, trying to get numbers going forward. They're trying to play it to the feet of Walsh, but Fawcett cuts it off. Fawcett's able to play the early ball up for Christine Lilly. Lilly will try the long ball. Running after it is Hamm. 2 defenders are back. Kell came out and made the play. But how quickly the USA sprung into the attack.
Oh, good counterattack by both teams right there. Joy Fawcett doing a fantastic job on the backside and recognizing there is one attacking player for Australia. And so if she takes that ball to the outside, she's going to have time to recollect herself and distribute.
Here's Markgraf. Pass goes away. Throw-in coming up. Very small crowd, but you can hear the USA supporters in the background. A lot of the family members have come over to support the team, as they always do in the big tournaments wherever they are held. That's Hamm knocking it forward, and off a double deflection, it's going to go out. First corner kick coming up for the United States. Even though they're missing Wambach, who's suspended as a target, they do have Cindy Parlow.
Cindy Parlow has been, her greatest strength is in the air, and so again, I don't think you're going to see much of a change on the set pieces. You see Joy Fawcett moving forward in front of the goalkeeper. I think that Boxx and Parlow will continue to be the targets at the back post.
Switch on, go, switch on.
Hamm's corner kick, far post, went over everybody, and it'll go out of play for a goal kick for Australia.
JP, one of the important things to note here is in the first corner, it's always important to test the goalkeeper. The United States continues to float balls in, and yes, they're reaching the back post, but there's no opportunity here to see what the range is of the goalkeeper. Kell is a very solid goalkeeper, but she's known for coming out and trying to sniff at balls that she has no business trying to come after. So I think it's important for Hamm to slide that ball in at a much lower trajectory and test Kell to see if she's going to come out and try and pick that ball off.
From that left side, it's Australia playing it forward. No Wambach today, suspended due to the accumulation of the 2 yellow cards right away in the first couple of games. They've since changed the rule because the USA and other teams in this group are playing an extra game. So if someone like Rampone, if she were starting today, got a yellow card, or a couple of Australian players like Alagich, they won't have to sit out the next game. That was a change announced yesterday, but it did not affect Wambach. She had already picked up 2 yellow cards in the first 2 games. On the left side, Australia will play it long. Fawcett again is back there. And she'll play that so that she will give her side a goal kick.
JP, coming back to that point about the changes to the yellow cards, it's very frustrating from a coaching perspective as the rules continue to be changed and adjusted as the tournament's going on. These types of things should have been sorted out in advance. The fact that there's 10 teams in this bracket really has made for all of this confusion, and Slatyer of FIFA also did announce that there will be 12 teams going into Beijing because this has been so confusing for everyone involved.
Got to treat the women's game, especially soccer in general, but the women's game with a bit more respect. The 10 teams created all kinds of problems. You're really talking about teams playing only 2 games and then going on to the quarterfinals. In the USA's case, it's 3, so it's unbalanced, but also not fair to have to only play a couple of games. Here's the U.S. trying to go forward, and that's picked off. Australia coming back. 13th minute. Halfway line. They look to set something up. Off a Peters deflection. Walsh again. Look at the speed coming through. And she couldn't get the shot away. Reddick tried to take her on there in the end, but you see that blazing speed. And this is a girl that's had 3 knee surgeries before she was 18 years of age.
Well, one of the advantages of playing Australia in the last month is that Kat Reddick knows the speed of Walsh. She does a nice job to keep her shoulder in front of her so that Walsh cannot cut the ball back across and get a shot off.
Walsh has stayed injury-free for the last 3 years, but those 3 operations before 18 had her thinking maybe this is not the game for her. But she stayed with it. Here's Garriock on the corner. Going rather short. She'll get it back to possibly cross. Instead, she'll settle. Now she plays it in on one hop. Scurry's there. The U.S. will play it up the right side. When they met in Blaine, Minnesota, Australia surprised the U.S. It was a makeshift USA lineup. They kept a lot of starters out, but the Aussies on a Danielle Small goal took the lead just 5 minutes into the game. Foudy from Mitz. Pushed all the way back. Joy Fawcett. Left side, Markgraf. Into the middle for Boxx. Boxx from Redondo Beach, California. Finding Markgraf. Hamm playing it back. Hamm's pass up. Lilly. Parlow. Deflected back, and Australia will get it back. Sasha Wainwright being chased in the far side by Julie Foudy. Ball comes back. This is Fawcett to Boxx. Keeping it on the ground. U.S. with a lot more ball possession here in the first half. And finally stringing some passes together. Last one intended for Mitz was knocked out. And apparently Heather Mitz touched it last, but they strung together 4 or 5 good ones there.
Well, I think that that's an important point, but also let me just mention Heather Mitz there. She's getting forward all the way to the corner flag. Mitz had a great opportunity to solidify some of her time and her playing experience as Joy Fawcett was injured nursing her back during the qualification process as well as the friendlies. And so Mitz getting all the way forward on that right side is really going to help the U.S. in getting numbers forward in that attack.
U.S. playing it up, and Kell will look to throw, and now she'll hold up.
The beauty of the personnel that the United States has in their back line right now is that there's an interchange of players that can play wide as well as playing central, and that has given a lot of experience, and it allows the United States to have some different variety. And Markgraf can play central. Kat Reddick serves a fantastic long ball. She could play out wide, and so gives all kinds of options.
After the deflection, Hamm was going after that. Kell came out. Mia Hamm has scored goals in 4 straight games, including 2 in the Olympics. Last game, that penalty kick against Brazil. Quick shot from Boxx. That'll go wide of a diving Cassandra Kell. Really the first shot. And we're 16 into the 16th minute.
Well, so far Cindy Parlow's first few touches have been very strong and have helped her team. Basically, she presents a big target. She's very good at having vision and seeing where her support help is. She's the kind of player that as the ball comes in, she's not afraid to take an extra touch to then distribute out. It's one of the criticisms of Abby Wambach. Abby's great at turning on a dime, whereas Parlow is going to help control and utilize some of their midfield players.
Garriock is to the left. Mitz with some very high pressure there, right around the halfway line. Cleared away. It'll come all the way back into the U.S. end. 17th minute. Garriock had a couple of goals in the last Olympics in Sydney, where this team was the host country and were disappointing, bowing out early.
And Garriock will forever be on the record books in Australia for being the goal scorer of their first win.
Here's Lilly trying to cut inside off the deflection. Banged away and last touched by Mia Hamm. So there'll be another goal kick coming up. Cassandra Kell will put it back in play. Backup goalkeeper for the tournament is Melissa Barbieri. '24-year-old Kell ready to put it back into play. 18th minute, scoreless between the USA and Australia. Final game in this round. Try to give you other scores of other games going on today. Germany's playing Mexico, Greece and Brazil, Sweden versus Nigeria. Foudy collects. Pushing it back for Shannon Boxx. Reddick. Boxx. And back and forth USA goes. Looking to spring someone. That ball kept on the ground and now picked off. Garriock from Shipard. Again, they continue to look for the feet of Sarah Walsh.
Well, the accuracy of Garriock in trying to find one player up there is critical, because if you don't find Walsh's feet, there is no one else up there. For those at home trying to figure out what system exactly Australia is playing, it was explained to me as a 4-1-4-1, which really could also be listed as a 4-5-1, I suppose.
At the end line, Hamm cutting it back for Parlow, and it's stopped there. A good chance for the USA on their second shot. Ball kept in play nicely by the U.S. on the right side and cut back. Foudy will hold. Lofts it forward. Coming through. Lilly. 96th goal and her first goal in some 13 games. Gone 13 without one. And Lilly getting closer now to 100.
Lilly sees Foudy setting up. You can see her continuing her run, spotting this ball. Does a nice job to strike it with her favorite surface, her left foot. She needs this goal to help build her confidence. Lilly's such a tremendous player, has been so consistent for the United States. Deserves to get that goal early in this game to help her confidence.
She's trying to become one of only 5 players with 100 goals. And we mentioned no goals in her last 13. Her last goal March 3rd against Costa Rica. Lilly, one of those who have family members watching her all the way through. Kell had a chance at that one. Looked like she got a piece, but not all. And the USA takes a 1-0 lead.
Well, certainly, JP, it's nice to see that the midfield created that goal from Foudy to Lilly. They've been under a lot of criticism recently, and again, as I said earlier, that's going to help their confidence. They've sorted out some of their defensive problems here, and again, I think that that's going to help them to continue to feel more like a unit on the field.
U.S. stepping up, trying to win it. Possession gained over to Boxx. Left side, Markgraf. Hamm pushing it to Wagner into the middle. Left there for Hamm. Got there a little bit late as Lilly tried to lay it off. Take Markgraf. All the defenders far more aggressive today than we saw them in the previous 2 games. Parlow trying to cross that as she lost her balance. So did the goalkeeper, but Kell will pick it up.
April Heinrichs is so keen on staying with her veteran players. They've done so much for this team. They've trained together for 9 months. They've shown her over a period of time that they can get the job done. And again, I think that that's going to be very big heading into the next round. This game, there's a little bit of room to play with things, but one of the things that she pointed out at the onset was that the United States needed to connect and needed to continue to build their confidence. It's a long tournament, and this is that extra game that can help build that confidence.
USA playing their 3rd game in a week's time as they get ready for the quarterfinals. The only problem is right now, we're not sure, you and I at this point, who they're going to be playing. Everyone will know, though, at the end of the day. And again, we'll try to give you those scores from the other games and let you know how that plays out later, probably sometime in the second half. Australia setting it in on the free kick and knotted out for a corner kick. Boxx knocked it out, second corner for Australia.
It's a very smart choice by Boxx. You could feel the pressure of the Australian player in behind her. Salisbury, who's so strong in and around that space. Salisbury actually used to be a midfielder. She is still their leading goal scorer as a midfielder. She's now moved back to the center back spot.
Here we
That's
go,
Garriock. There's an open player, but the quick shot was blocked. That was a chance there for Alagich. Here's one from long distance. It's blocked and now cleared out by the U.S., but Alagich had a good chance. That's Wainwright on the left. Shipard tried to go longer. USA will pick that up. 23rd minute. Julie Foudy pushing it forward to Hamm. Australia coming back, and they knocked it out. So the U.S. will have a throw-in in Australia's territory as Hamm takes that long throw down the sideline. Ball cut in front. Kell lost it. Oh, she had it, lost it. USA had a chance for a rebound.
Well, and I had a chance to talk with Phil Wedden, the goalkeeping coach for the United States, and certainly one of the criticisms of Kell is she's a two-touch goalkeeper, and what that basically means is that she'll go and deflect balls instead of actually holding on to them. That can be very dangerous. Certainly good for the United States. They know they need to follow every pass.
USA out shooting Australia right now. 3-2. They're up on the scoreboard, 1-0. And Foudy will have a throw-in. Heather Mitz is going to take it instead. Towards the corner flag. The Mitz cross headed down and out of play. Wide of the goalkeeper, Cassandra Kell. Christine Lilly looking for her second goal of the match.
JP, another thing that April Heinrichs shared with me was, and I'm beginning to see this here in this game, the attacks are coming from very wide positions. The way that the Australians tend to play is very tight, right up the middle of the park, and one of the ways that she felt they would be successful is getting around that outside, either from a quick change of the point of the attack or from simply attacking up one side and then being able to strike a long ball to the other. That has been very successful for the U.S. thus far.
Wagner will play it over the left. U.S. keeping possession. That's Lilly on the turn. That's a nice ball for Hamm. Hamm holds, takes the look up, returns off a flick. Spinning was Wagner, and now it's cleared away. The foul is going to be called right at the edge of the box. We've got an Australian player down. Looks like Alagich, who played 3 seasons in the WUSA with San Jose. Here's a look at how it happened.
Difficult to see. It looked like it was after the fact there when Wagner and Alagich were connecting. Alagich was already down on the ground. We don't have the best view, so we're going to have to wait to see what's happened there. One of the common things that I certainly saw, JP, reading the bios of the Australian players are the number of ACL injuries that they have incurred and the number of surgeries that they've had to go through. Gosh, there are 6 players listed on this roster with ACL injuries, the most common injury in women's soccer right now. Peters with 1, Small with 1, Slatyer with 1, Alagich with 2, Walsh with 3, Wainwright with 3. That's unbelievable.
Well, hopefully Alagich is okay. She's a veteran on this squad, one of the most dependable players. This is Julie Foudy, USA's captain, setting up the first goal.
Julie Foudy has such great vision. You can see this ball just floating in just to the edge of the 6. No goalkeeper is going to come out and try and get that ball from a weak side all the way over at her back post. Great timing by Christine Lilly to read and slash through that midfield and drag the opposing midfielder through. Tough angle to try and defend.
And Alagich was able to get back up on the field. She's been a warrior for this team, the only Aussie to play every minute of the last 2 World Cups and the last Olympic tournament as well. Push forward by Peters, and the flag goes up on the speedy Sarah Walsh.
Well, this is always one of the things you have to work with young players. You can see as the ball is struck, she's a good 2 or 3 yards behind the U.S. back line.
27th minute, USA leading Australia 1-0 as they start up the right flank with Julie Foudy. Foudy looks, plays it longer and wider. Parlow cutting. Back for Foudy, 22 yards out, and Kell will hang on to this with Wagner making the run. Other scores in the women's games today. Germany leading Mexico 1-0. Mexico has a good chance to advance into the next round. Of course, Germany beat China 8-0 in game 1. Brazil is leading Greece 1-0. Alagich being treated off the field. We assume she is going to come back. She got a nice hand when she got up under her own power. Right now, though, Australia playing with a player down. 28th minute. Mitz brings it down. From Cincinnati, Ohio, Heather Mitz, pressured by Walsh. Fawcett to Reddick. Reddick decides to switch it. Foudy from Mitz, who continues to run. And Australia will take it back. Looking to counter and get some numbers going forward. That's Joanne Peters. Cut off by Markgraf. Australia follows up. Plays it long. Running on to it. Right side. That's Walsh. She tried to cross it. She'll get a throw, and it was blocked out by Reddick.
Well, nice job by Kat Reddick. The U.S. caught in a little bit of transition there. Heather Mitz trying to get involved, getting in line up the right side. Quick transition on the backside. All Reddick could do was try and play that ball out of bounds. No sense trying to maintain possession in that scenario.
Danielle Small on the throw and quick turn, and that was cracked wide near side of Brianna Scurry. Peters had that opportunity. Veteran of 2 World Cups for Australia. Reddick moves it along. Left side, Lilly. Christine Lilly has the game's only goal. Julie Foudy assisted in the 19th minute. Parlow tried to go forward. Hamm was the closest one to it, but not even that close as it goes out.
Well, one of the concerns certainly at the onset of this game was the chemistry that has been lost with Wambach being off the field, but there's a very good connection between Hamm and Parlow. That Tar Heel connection, and I don't think that it's going to be very difficult for them to connect. And that one you could see just Parlow playing the ball a little bit to the outside. Hamm's doing a nice job to stay centrally, which is where she's best. When she starts floating outside too much, there isn't anyone on the back post, so some miscommunication there.
Yeah, we saw Alagich still being treated on the sideline. Makes you wonder. Now she's coming back. She's taped up. Saw the left leg bandaged. We'll see how she goes. She was out for a bit. Kell will pick it up. Obviously she wants to still play and we'll give it a go, but if that left leg is going to bother and she's not effective, then Sandtrack will have to make a change that he doesn't want to have to make. Long clearance by Australia. 1 goal down. Australia lost game 1 to Brazil, 1-0 on a Marta goal, then came back and beat Greece on a Garriock goal. And now they're looking for something against the United States. They don't have to win this game to advance as long as Greece loses in their game against Brazil. There's all kinds of scenarios, and again, we'll sort them out for you as we get the answers ourselves here. Nigeria is leading Sweden 1-0. And if that result were to stand, we could say goodbye to Sweden. Amazing. They were one of the favorites coming in. And it's too early, obviously, to eliminate them, but right now they're in some trouble. Throw in coming up. That's Small. The return intended for Small is deflected and then off Walsh, I believe, so it should be a goal kick, and it is. Brianna Scurry will put it back in play, perhaps with some help from Kat Reddick. And one of the problems with this tournament with the 10 teams that we mentioned before, you have a bad first game, you could be out of this competition.
Well, absolutely, and we keep talking about Sweden. I mean, I'm just flabbergasted by the fact that Sweden has struggled, so much in this event. Coming into it, certainly speaking to the U.S. coaches, Sweden was one of the favorites. They played Sweden twice earlier, once at the Algarve Cup in March, and defeated them 3-1, and then they lost 3-1 at the Algarve Cup. They defeated them at the Four Nations Cup in China, and they for sure thought that the lineup that Sweden was putting out on the field is one of their best ever.
And it still could happen, but Sweden can't afford to lose today, having lost their first game to Japan. Knocked down now, and the U.S. will come back and defend. Long ball, had that gone over the top and had Walsh been onside, that could have been a breakaway. That's the danger of her speed. Parlow takes the look up. Cindy Parlow from Memphis, Tennessee, over to Shannon Boxx. Now on the left side, Markgraf. Wagner Wagner in the turn, has some time, plays it through, looks to get the return. That didn't happen quick enough. Garriock. They continue to look long. One of these times it may work with Walsh continuing those runs. Played long by Hamm on a bounce. Parlow. Kell comes out. Net's empty. Some confusion there. Boy, you had 3 defenders and the goalkeeper out at the edge of the 18. 33rd minute. Kell pretty fortunate there. The U.S. playing it inside that 18. Now coming back out was Parlow. Off the deflection. Australia will pick it up and try to move it out. Peters.
Well, JP, once again, if you look at the line of engagement where Markgraf is coming up to defend, she's 15, 20 yards in front of the center line there. And again, what does that mean? It just means that the United States has pushed up their line and they're pressing at a much higher point, and that's closing down the space for Australia. That was one of the things that the United States needed against Brazil, and certainly is going to be one of the things they're going to need against Germany if that is where this tournament continues to go.
Throw in for Danielle Small, who attended 3 different colleges in the United States, finishing up at San Diego State. First 2 schools were Division II, and one of those schools actually went bankrupt. That's why she didn't continue there. Parlow will play it back. All the way to the right side. U.S. with mitts. Back to Joy Fawcett. Fawcett will try the long ball. That's picked off. Parlow nods it down. Wagner. Advantage call works in the USA's favor. Wagner looking wide left to Mia Hamm. Hamm running it inside. Looks to cross it there. Couldn't find anyone open. Here's Lilly. Chasing it down. She has the game's only goal. U.S. scrambling back, forcing the bad ball that Fawcett collects and clears to Lilly. Markgraf. Wagner coming back for it, now switching. That's Mitz, who made her Olympic debut against Brazil, coming off the bench. Starting today for Rampone. Left side, Christine Lilly running at the defense. Running against Davies, looking to cross it, tackled out. Corner kick for the United States, their second one.
Nice patience by Christine Lilly there. There wasn't a whole lot she was going to be able to do in getting off that service. So just stays in and makes it look like she's going to try and play the ball and allows the Australian defender to knock it over for a corner.
Hamm will take it. 36th minute, 1-0 USA. Far post it goes, knocked down, and Kell doesn't see it. Boxx was over there. Picked up by Parlow, playing it back out. Quick shot over the bar. Wagner coming in late. A 1-0 USA lead. It could have been 2 with that confusion in the Australian box.
Well, not a bad opportunity by Cindy Parlow. A bad choice by her to knock the ball backwards. Certainly on these set pieces, part of the equation is to know exactly where the other players are on the field. And 2 U.S. players are always stationed up at the top of the box. And so if going forward and going through the defense isn't an option, laying the ball off to the top of the penalty area, almost always there should be someone there.
Mia Hamm down that left flank. Wanted to cut inside. It was blocked there. She'll try it again. That one's tackled away, and Hamm got through. Takes the look up and sent it in. Stopped by Kell. Hamm down on her knees inside the 18. Bouncing back up.
Well, Mia Hamm always likes to cut the ball back, especially from this left side, trying to find Cindy Parlow's feet. If she had, there was some space open around the penalty spot, just not quite connecting as much as they'd like.
Peters played it over. There's nobody there. Mitz will clear it ahead. Foudy. Cindy Parlow. Wagner goes long. It's a long run for Hamm. The defense is there. Hamm putting some pressure on. And she thought she had an Australian turnover. She did not. It goes for Davies on the throw-in. Off a block, There was that high pressure that you've been speaking about before with Wagner coming in. Lessons learned from the Brazil game, to be sure.
Well, certainly, and I wasn't going to be surprised to see Australia trying to do the same thing. Certainly in a tournament like this, as a coach, you watch what's successful for other teams. And I'm sure that Adrian Santrak was watching that game or watched the tape of the game against Brazil and said, hey, this has caused the United States problems. You could see 3 defenders collapsing on the U.S. at every opportunity that Australia has.
Reddick will send it over to Heather Mitts. Now to Fawcett. Making a cut against Walsh. Kept on the ground. Hamm. Pressured by Alagich, who steps in. Hamm stays with it. And Alagich gets knocked over. Foul goes against Mia Hamm. Everyone talks about her offense, but you always see her working so hard defensively, putting pressure on.
Well, and certainly with this extra game, Mia Hamm is one of the best at the world at taking players on, but certainly the thing that she has worked on the most since she got out of college was her defending and her ability to play on both sides of the ball. When she was with the Washington Freedom coming back from a shoulder injury, she was actually playing in the midfield a lot and had to learn more of that responsibility of tracking all the way back to the 18.
Mia Hamm used to be a teammate of Abby Wambach in the WSA, or Professional Women's League, that organizers hope to revive, if not next year, then the following year, and we wish them well in that effort.
Well, JP, as well, there are 3 Australian players that participated in the league, as you've mentioned. Joanne Peters playing for the New York Power, along with Salisbury, and was brought there by Tom Sermani, who used to be the Australian national team coach. So the soccer world always continues to be a small one, at least on the women's side.
40th minute. Here's your goal scorer, Christine Lilly. The game's only goal. Foudy assisted. Lilly's 96th international goal. Only 4 others have reached 100. 2 USA players, Mia Hamm and Michelle Akers, and 2 Italian players, Elisabetta Vignotto and Carolina Morace. Knocked down for Hamm. Lays it off. Breaking it is Parlow. And that one goes wide. It's deflected for corner kick, I believe, and Parlow took a knock to the side of the face.
Cindy Parlow does a great job to get herself in a seam. My only criticism of Parlow in this position is she's got to use her left foot. The ball, if it had come across her body, she would have been able to commit to the inside to that near post. She always likes to use her right foot. It is her more dominant foot, but that left foot has got to be used by Cindy Parlow.
3rd corner for the United States, who has the edge in the shot, 7-3. Fawcett's at the near post. To the middle it goes. Deflected out. Settled by Hamm. She'll crack it, but it's high and wide to the left of Cassandra Kell.
We've been talking about some of the connections in the United States, and I'll get back to that in a second. Cindy Parlow, you can see, is in an onside position. If she'd allowed that ball to come across her body to her left foot, she would have kept her body between the Australian defender and the ball. By using her right foot, it allowed the Australian defender to be able to get a little toe poke on it and prevent her from scoring a goal.
Look at the high pressure from Hamm against Wainwright, forcing a giveaway. That's great hustle from Hamm. 42nd minute, USA leading 1-0 on Christine Lilly's 96th international goal. Australia coming back on that left flank. Garriock. Shipard turning. That's Peters checking back forward, playing it back to the halfway line. Shipard looks long. Knocked down Walsh. Trying to play it across. Right through that goal mouth area, but that's a rare time. They've been playing balls to the feet of Walsh. That time they went over the top. That was well done.
Well, again, Walsh's speed is so deadly and so dangerous. She tries to get this ball to the back post, but because of the positioning by the U.S. defense, unable to get any bend on it.
And Slatyer is going to be coming out. One change. Reuter will come in. Slatyer looked like she was laboring a little bit. It's interesting to make this change right near the end of the first half. So Carla Reuter comes in. She was on that World Cup team from 2003. Presumably now will take Slatter's spot. When I saw the sub up, I was wondering if maybe Alagich was struggling. We've seen her with the leg taped up, but she has continued on. Off the Foudy throw-in. 43rd minute. USA up by 1. Intended for Parlow. It's a tough landing there. As play goes upfield, it's a 16-year-old Shipard, blocked by Boxx, and now picked up by Wagner. That's Markgraf. And it's going to be headed out by Salisbury. 44th minute. Lilly on the throw-in. Much better effort from this team here in the first half than that last game we saw against Brazil. Fawcett off and touch, flags up on the opposite side for the offside call here in the 44th minute.
It's always difficult, JP, to know coming into a tournament. The United States has been in the group of death in other tournaments, and then as well, they've had sort of an easier start in this event, playing Greece and being able to move the ball around without a whole lot of defensive presence. You never know which way it's going to go. Some might think it's better to have that ability to knock the ball, where other teams and other head coaches think it's better to start the program off, start the tournament off under significant pressure. You know, we've already talked about how good really is Germany. We don't know. That 8-0 score, we haven't seen them play in 7 days.
Suffice to say, they'll be a well-rested team because they don't have the schedule that teams in this group have, having to play 3 games. The Germans only have to play 2. And realistically, they don't have to do much at all in terms of playing a game today against Mexico to advance. They're a +8 on the goal differential side with 3 points. Here's Markgraf. In the closing half minute of this first half. Final day of the opening round on the women's side. And hopefully before this day is over, we'll be able to update you in terms of who's going on and who will play who in the quarterfinals. We should be able to do that. Hamm playing it up. Foudy off the advantage call with time running out of the half. Wagner broken up there by Wainwright. Ball was out on the far side. Throw in. Should be seconds away from the whistle. They're going to put 2 minutes up. That makes sense with Alagich needing some help. Forgot about that. So 2 minutes of added time here. Laid off on the right. Foudy plays it back. Mitz. Back for Foudy, who cracks it inside. It was a push inside, and now it's cleared, not out. Lilly turns. Lays it off. Markgraf is pushed up. Markgraf sends it forward, punched away by Kell. And now it's Peters. Trying to get around Boxx. Shannon Boxx take over. Another advantage call for the United States. Mitz forward with no pressure. Could have gone even farther up and instead gave that ball away. Kell gets ready to put it back into play. Australia down 1-0. Last week, Czech Greece was also losing to Brazil 1-0. So if these results were to stand, Greece will not be advancing, but Australia would, even with a loss.
Well, Australia was quoted in the paper today by saying that one of their goals was to get to the quarterfinals, and certainly they've left it a little bit in the hands of Brazil. They got their first win, but certainly they're excited to be moving on and having that opportunity.
Hamm putting pressure on Kell again. Throw-in coming up. Not much time left in the first half. USA ready for the throw-in. Wide is Parlow. Looking up. Looking for Hamm. That's going to be headed out of the box. Boxx sent it back in off a deflection. Australia will just clear it out. That's going to do first half, and certainly a much better half for the United States than we saw in that last game against Brazil.
Well, the U.S. is doing a much better job of establishing their rhythm as well as keeping the ball wide and attacking from a flank position. More personality from both Foudy as well as Lilly have contributed to this 1-0 lead going into halftime.
So minus Wambach, USA's offense has looked okay. They have a 1-0 lead at the end of the first half. Lilly with the game's only goal, her 96th international goal.
Wish you had friends in Hollywood? Now you do. On Access Hollywood with Nancy and Billy, you not only get into the party, you become part of it.
So glad you follow me everywhere.
Because only Nancy hangs with Jack, and only Billy feeds junk food to models.
Hi, I'm inappropriate. Nice to meet you.
Access Hollywood. So much Hollywood, only one Access.
America's watching Dan Abrams.
He knows everything there is about law.
It's against the law. It's stealing.
Dan really ties it all together.
The Abrams Report, weekdays at 6, 5 Central on MSNBC.
These 3 letters open the door to the 2004 model year-end event. It's the one place for more standard V8 horsepower than Ford F-150 Super Crew. Available automatic rear locking differential and quadra-steer 4-wheel steering. Get $5,000 total allowance toward a new 2004 Sierra 1500 Crew Cab when you finance through your dealer and GMAC. For a great selection, see your Houston area GMC dealers today.
Astros cap, glove, tickets, binoculars, laptop. And that's right, laptop. Because Minute Maid Park is one big wireless Roadrunner speed zone, and you can access the internet from anywhere in the park while you're watching the game. Check your email from behind third base. Search for stats on your favorite players. Buy tickets for the next game while you're waiting for a hot dog. Speed Zone is fast, simple, and secure, and anyone can use it. So come out to the ballpark and go online with Roadrunner Speed Zone from Time Warner Cable.
You'd expect the largest healthcare provider in the country to offer advanced cardiac care. You may not expect it to be right in your neighborhood. But that's exactly where you'll find HCA-affiliated hospitals and the highest level of cardiac diagnostics and treatment. It's everything you need for a strong, healthy heart. And it's all so close to home. Any closer, and it'd be considered a house call. HCA-affiliated hospitals. Far ahead, close to home.
Coca-Cola, proud worldwide sponsor of the 2004 Olympic Games, salutes the human spirit of the athletes of the world and the people who believe in them.
Welcome back. Perhaps the biggest surprise of these games so far is the men's Iraqi soccer team. Unable to train and play in their war-torn homeland, nobody expected Iraq to make an impact in Athens. 2 games and 2 upset victories later, the underdog Iraqis have already clinched a berth in the quarterfinals. Nancy Newman has more on this team's remarkable story.
Since 1988, the country has endured 2 major wars and 13 years of international sanctions. Saddam Hussein's son Uday, who once headed the Olympic program and used the threat of torture to try and inspire his players, is gone.
I missed a penalty kick and they shaved my head and put me in jail for 10 days.
But when the U.S. invaded, the situation in Iraq became so chaotic, the soccer team disbanded, its members going into hiding. The players were summoned back to Baghdad by radio announcements, but car bombs, terror attacks, and a violent insurgency continued to plague Iraq, making it extremely difficult for this soccer-mad nation's athletes to train or compete.
We have suffered a lot of security problems and chaos here in Iraq. I had to come to stadium with my brothers or my friends because it wasn't safe enough to come alone.
And so the team trained in exile, playing its home games in neighboring Jordan. Simply qualifying for the Olympics here in Greece against regional power Saudi Arabia was considered a huge triumph. Just to get to Athens, the team had to be airlifted out of Iraq. Then the march into Olympic Stadium during the opening ceremonies, itself an accomplishment.
We are very excited. This team have came a long way. We started from below zero. We worked very hard. We really worked 18 hours a day, 7 days a week.
But Iraq came to Greece to do much more than march, and they have been supported by a passionate group of fans. In their first game, they scored goal after goal against the mighty Portugal side, registering a 4-2 upset. Then, in front of a much larger, louder, and more political crowd, Iraq continued their quest for gold. With 2 second-half goals. They beat Costa Rica and guaranteed a spot in the quarterfinal round and at least one more chapter for their Cinderella soccer story.
Iraq is all full of joy. It's proven to the world that Iraq is back. Iraq is really excited about what's happening, and they can make it. They will make it. They will survive.
The story of the Iraqi team reaffirms the original promise of the Olympic Games, athletes from around the world coming together in competition and hopefully peace. The Iraq-Morocco soccer match will air live here on MSNBC tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern.
I hadn't seen him in a while. I wasn't sure if he'd recognize me. So I jogged his memory. Again. And again.
At the end of the career, I think right there, girls start punking you.
Maybe we could get a number or something.
Yeah, at least get a date on it or something.
I still don't know if he knows my name. But I'm pretty sure I left an impression.
Today at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, another full day at the pool begins. American Brendan Hansen and Japan's Kosuke Kitajima renew their rivalry in the 200-meter breaststroke. Plus, Americans Dax Holdren and Stein Metzger in a sand showdown with Norway. In prime time, it's the women's team final in gymnastics. Carly Patterson leads the world champion Americans as they try to dethrone reigning Olympic champion Romania. And in swimming, 2 gold medal finals for Michael Phelps, the 200-meter butterfly, the event in which he set his first world record, and the 4x200-meter freestyle relay. Plus, swimming's cover girl, Amanda Beard, in the 200-meter individual medley final. Also, the Queens of the Beach, Misty May and Carrie Walsh, in their second Athens appearance. For the latest TV listings, tune into the TV Guide channel and log on to NBCOlympics.com as NBC's coverage of the 2004 Olympic Games continues from Athens, Greece.
And welcome back to our Olympic studios here in Athens. California Natalie Coughlin didn't make the Sydney Olympic swimming team because of a shoulder injury. She had to wait 4 long years for a chance at Olympic glory. Last night, she seized it with both hands. This is our race of the day.
Two lengths in the pool. Coughlin in lane 4, Manadou in lane 5 just below her, and Basholta above in lane 3.
Well, I expect Natalie to jump out early. She loves that underwater dolphin kick, and she did already, about a quarter body length lead. Now, as she builds into this 50, she needs to use this wall, attack it. That's what she does best. She doesn't use that wall as a liability, Dan. She uses it as an asset, and much better than anybody else in this field. She looks very smooth and calm right there.
Very smooth. Coughlin is going to have the lead as they make the turn for home. Coughlin split 28.89, just above the world record that she owns.
Right on it. Look at that. 4 or 5 strokes over at Ale Stakes, and she's on top of the water.
This is a tremendous swim by Coughlin. Natalie Coughlin way out in front of the field.
Everybody else is bunched up together. As long as she can maintain her technique, she's going to win gold.
The disappointment at the trials is her head injury. Can she hang on in lane 4? Because up in lane 1 it is very close, but Coughlin gets in there for the gold. She just held off Coventry, who had creeped ahead there just at the end, but Coughlin got into the wall first.
Natalie Coughlin, who turns 22 years old next Monday, gives herself an early birthday present, an Olympic gold medal. Now, with his bronze medal in the 200 free last night, Michael Phelps is still on pace for a record-tying medal haul here in Athens. He continues his quest tonight in the 200-meter butterfly. Phelps is the world record holder and the favorite to win his second gold medal of these 2004 games. You can catch all the action tonight in prime time on NBC starting at 8 Eastern and Pacific. Now, More trouble for the U.S. men's basketball squad. Already reeling from its horrible loss to Puerto Rico on Sunday, the Dream Team now has to overcome an injury to one of its key players. Allen Iverson broke his right thumb during the United States' 92-73 loss to Puerto Rico, and he aggravated that injury during practice on Monday. Now, Iverson, known for his ability to play through pain, plans to suit up and take the court against Greece tonight, despite the injury to his shooting hand. And you can see that game live on USA at 3 p.m. Eastern today. We'll be back with the second half of USA versus Australia when we come back at the 28th Games.
Coca-Cola, proud worldwide sponsor of the 2004 Olympic Games, salutes the human spirit of the athletes of the world and the people who believe in them.
Every day, Hardball with Chris Matthews has more real viewers saying,
Let's play hardball.
Let's play hardball.
Let's play hardball.
Chris Matthews is hard-hitting and he doesn't let anybody get a pass.
Did you advise the press to go to work?
Hey, why do you think we call it?
Hardball.
Hardball with Chris Matthews, weeknights at 7, 6 Central on MSNBC.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nia Vardalos, and you're watching MSNBC in Athens, Greece.
Get a lot of calls about the dish. It's always some guy bought an HD TV, finds out he needs to buy all this extra equipment for it to work with his dish. He gets angry, and things turn ugly.
Put the hockey stick down and step away from the dish. I just want to watch HD TV, but the dish makes it too hard. Right now, sir.
This never would have happened if he'd stuck with cable. That's the part that keeps me up at night.
Call Time Warner today to get the very best in HD TV. Time Warner Cable. Now anything's possible.
These 3 letters open the door to the 2004 model year-end event. It's the one place to be for unsurpassed horsepower, the tightest turning radius, and unsurpassed cargo capacity. Get a 2004 Yukon available with option packages including StabiliTrak, side impact airbags, and more, a $2,000 discount. Add the discount to cashback and GMAC allowance for a total value of $7,500. For a great selection, see your Houston area GMC dealers today.
You'd expect the largest healthcare provider in the country to offer advanced cardiac care. You may not expect it to be right in your neighborhood. But that's exactly where you'll find HCA-affiliated hospitals and the highest level of cardiac diagnostics and treatment. It's everything you need for a strong, healthy heart. And it's all so close to home. Any closer, and it'd be considered a house call. HCA-affiliated hospitals. Far ahead, close to home.
USA leads Australia 1-0 at halftime. The only goal was by Christine Lilly. Here are the highlights from the first 45 minutes.
Well, the U.S. midfield helping to pick up the pace without Wambach. Julie Foudy is unmarked, is able to find Christine Lilly at the back of the post. You can see that Foudy's got time to float a perfect ball as Lilly runs through, utilizes her left foot and places this ball right off of Kell's face. Not much she's going to be able to do to stop that. Australia is certainly one of the teams in this tournament with many fouls. They're leading the tournament with fouls, and Mia Hamm's always a target. Cindy Parlow has a great opportunity here late in the second half, but has to allow that ball to come across to her left foot and finish herself.
So the difference in this game is Christine Lilly's 96th international goal. We still have a second half to come your way after the break. 1-0 USA leads.
Simon, I could tell America I love vanilla Coke, but if it comes from you, America's most notorious critic, then we've got something. So, what is your opinion about vanilla Coke?
Well, actually,
Jimmy, show him his opinion.
I love the smooth, intriguing flavor of vanilla Coke.
He loves it. Jimmy, ring the bell. We've got our first celebrity endorsement. Vanilla Coke and Diet Vanilla Coke. Smooth and intriguing, like we said.
It's good.
Final day of competition in the opening round on the women's side. USA looking to finish strong and be on top of their group at the end of the day, finishing in first in Group G. And if results stand, that's what would happen today. They've got a 1-0 lead over Australia. There are other games going on today. We were giving you some updates earlier in terms of the other games. Germany looking good again. They just had a 1-0 lead in their game over Mexico. USA here on a Christine Lilly goal is on top as we get ready to start the second half of play. We wonder about some changes they're going to be made. That's the backup goalkeeper we had a look at earlier. Barbieri So the other scores, Greece was taking on Brazil and Sweden and Nigeria. Last we heard, Nigeria was up 1-0. The result would knock Sweden out of this tournament, and Brazil was leading Greece 1-0. That would do the same.
Well, JP, I certainly think that you're going to have a chance to see substitutes come in for both sides. This is their third match in a short period of time, and so I think that there are going to be quite a few changes. But I do feel that the United States is playing a much better game and should be, much happier about the performance, certainly of the midfield. The United States needs to continue to press and put pressure on Australia at a higher spot on the field. They need to continue to exploit the width, as that's been very successful for them. And then they need to continue to play through Cindy Parlow. If Parlow stays on for the whole 90, she's done a very nice job to sit in that seam in front of the two center backs, receive balls, and then be able to distribute wide.
You're allowed up to 3 subs, and in the first 2 games, we've seen Lindsay Tarpley not only play, but make an impact, and one would think that she may get another call today if they go with that same pattern and give her more experience. Also, Heather O'Reilly was used, and she was very successful in the game against Australia and Blaine, Minnesota, assisting on 2 second-half goals, and her speed is definitely an asset. She is part of the future of the team, so if they can give her some more playing time, you would think they might do that too.
Well, absolutely. She's the kind of player that comes in and can change a game because of her ability to get in behind defenses. It is just raw speed. When Mia Hamm says that another player is the fastest player on the team, there must be a discrepancy in that speed. At the same time, for Australia, I'd like to see them make a few changes. This game should allow them to advance. Why not step another player up and try and produce a little bit more on the attack? Walsh is kind of left up there by herself without a whole lot of support. Certainly allowing another player to come forward would create some opportunities.
That was the player that left, Slatyer. That substitution was made near the end of the half, so Australia made the one change. They could make a couple more if they want to. And you would think, too, at this point that they know what the other scores are going on. And if Greece were to lose, Australia knows they could lose this and still advance. You don't want to leave anything to chance, so that was only a 1-0 game, so I'm sure they're concerned about that. But if Brazil were to open it up, it might make a difference here for Australia in terms of what they would do substitution-wise.
Well, as we said earlier, JP, Australia is one of the teams that's really closed the gap, and for them to go into halftime 1-0 down against the U.S. and haven't conceded, too many dangerous opportunities, I think, again, that's something the Australians are going to be proud of. It's a young squad. They're not intimidated by the U.S. They have gone out on tour and played significant games against other opponents, and that's helped to make them more familiar at the international level.
Ready for the second half kickoff. The Aussies, before this Olympic tournament began, went on a 31-day tour. Stops in China, Mexico, and the United States, then went back home for a week, and then they went to Greece. So they've been busy, to say the least. And now, because of that sun, Kell donning the hat, the visor, to protect her somewhat against those rays. As that ball is cleared. Halfway line broken up. Do not see any changes out there for either of these two sides.
Well, 2 of the names, JP, that you haven't mentioned a whole lot of are Shannon Boxx and Ali Wagner, and certainly the way that Australia tends to play defensively, there's so many bodies in and around them. They haven't had many opportunities to get significant touches. Their role in that first half was simply to try and change the point of the attack, either through the backs and find the other side, but they haven't had significant impact thus far in this match.
Ball switched across. Heather Mitz keeps it rolling. One touch up that right flank. Didn't work. Boxx was over there. Now it's Wagner. Almost sent Mia Hamm through. Right idea. Ball just didn't get there. Australia will pick it off. Peters looking for Walsh with speed, trying to split 2 USA defenders. Has to wait for the help, though, because when she was cut off, there was no other option for her. Now everybody's back as she crosses, but it goes wide. If no one is playing close to her with her speed, it's tough to support her.
Well, once again, Walsh has just got such dynamic ability to get forward with the ball. It's just a God-given talent, and Fawcett does a nice job to be patient with her. Walsh cuts that ball back. It does get into an open space where she's able to get the cross, but once again, there's just not a whole lot of help from the Australian players in trying to push forward. They're keeping their defensive shell.
Fawcett for Mitz. Coming back is Foudy. Wagner hit hard with that shoulder challenge as that ball rolled out. USA made 2 changes coming into this game. Abby Wambach suspended due to the accumulation of 2 yellow cards, so she could not start today, and Heather Mitz replaced Christy Rampone in the starting lineup. Otherwise, it's the same unit for the first 2 games that they've gone with. As this ball is cleared out of play. Brought back down. Reddick. That's picked off. The U.S. fights harder, wins it. Markgraf. She's brought down. And the foul will give the USA a free kick. Markgraf continuing to lead the team in games started and minutes played. Here's Hamm, looking to turn. Laid it off on that left side, and then it's shot high and wide. The goalkeeper, Kell, since has now taken that hat off. Didn't like it, apparently.
The United States has worked so much on, their finishing inside the box and their service angles. Christine Lilly here, I think, would be better served taking an extra touch, getting closer to that end line. Parlow's there at the near post, but the shooting from that angle doesn't give her a whole lot. If she gets to the end line, she can pull the ball back and would have better opportunity to find the back of the net.
Chance here for Hamm to keep her out. And that time she was sure-handed. May have gotten clipped in the face with Hamm trying to get to that ball. Had she gotten by, Hamm that is, it would have been a 2-0 lead because that net would have been wide open.
I tell you, JP, I remember those days of having to defend breakaways against Mia Hamm. It is not a good time. Her speed is deceptive. Just when you think you're going to get to the ball, there's that little extra toe poke that she always gets in there at the last second before she jumps up and over the goalkeeper.
Going back to your Carolina days?
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Has to make you better, though, when you practice against the best.
It was always the goal just to stop her one time in a 3-minute drill.
And were you successful?
Usually, yes,
yeah.
And I would rub that in, and she would always remind me of the other 9 that she'd score.
Here's Scurry clearing. A 1-0 USA lead, 50th minute. Final games today on the women's side of this opening round, and the quarterfinals begin in a couple of days. A few days, I should say. Throw in for Mitz. She'll get the return pass, try to knock it to the right wing, but it goes out for another throw in a few yards farther upfield. Mitz long throw, headed down by Hamm. Parlow is wide, closer to the corner flag as it goes out. It's another throw in. Parlow with 2 defenders there, almost pushed that across to Hamm. Square just clearing it out.
One of Cindy Parlow's strengths is her ability to basically stand up, and you can see in a high position here she wraps her arms around the defender and has an ability to just hold that position. At 5'11", it's difficult to see around her. Unless you're Cheryl Salisbury, you're not going to get a look up over her shoulder.
Australia finally looks like they can move the ball out, and then contact there. Studs are up on Garriock, so it's a free kick for the USA. Australia have to do more than just clear balls out of play, though.
Well, Garriock needs to be careful there as those cleats come up. In the men's game, that's an automatic red card. In the women's game, they seem to be a little bit easier on that call. I'd like to see actually referees certainly dipping in and using their yellow card in that situation. It's dangerous, regardless of what the intent is. Those cleats are up, and you catch someone in the calf, that could end a tournament.
USA leading Australia 1-0 here in the second half. 3 other games going on today, simultaneous on the women's side. They'll have an effect on who is going to be advancing in this tournament. Hopefully we'll give you those scenarios at the end of the day. Germany over Mexico 1-0. That's in the second half. Mexico looking strong right now at that point. And Brazil over Greece, and Australia obviously knows that. So they can play this one a little bit differently here. And Nigeria over Sweden, a result that could knock Sweden out and help China go on.
Well, certainly Sweden was one of the favorites coming in, and they qualified based on their finish in the last World Cup in playing Germany in the final. That was the qualification, as well as Greece, as the host country, had an automatic. Again, leaving Norway at home.
Yeah,
certainly
ironic?
One of the big rivalries of the United States. The U.S. happy in some ways that Norway's not here, but as well always likes to play against the best.
Played back by Reuter. Towards Gill. Headed forward now by Boxx. USA leading Australia 1-0. The only goal by Christine Lilly. The first goal in 14 games. Tackled over. Hamm was after it. Now it comes back into the middle. Fawcett. Hamm sends it left to Markgraf. Christine Lilly. Chased by Small. Danielle Small trying to angle it over. And it's deflected out. Still will belong to the United States. Off that throw-in. Parlow taken down. She says to play on. No foul call. Comes all the way back. Reddick. Mitz keeps it on the ground. That's picked off. It was intended for Mia Hamm. Look at her chase back. Australia, though, will pick it up and look for some room. Just off target, but again, it was Walsh making the run. Scurry plays it over. Markgraf trying to switch it. USA have just the one goal, but defensively they've not allowed Australia to threaten, so it's been so far another relatively easy day for Scurry, and a very easy day when you compare it to the last game against Brazil.
Well, JP, the thing I've enjoyed the most about this game is that the United States has chose to play into Parlow's feet. She's much better when the ball is in at her feet. Everybody thinks that the air game is really her greatest strength, and it is. She's very strong in the air, but her feet are actually very good, and when the ball comes into her, again, she's such a big target. She's made a significant impact in this game.
Hamm's going to get a corner kick for the United States. Fourth one. She's been taking them all. Fawcett at the normal spot there for her, near post. Hamm drives it to the middle. Skimmed over a couple of heads. Left side. Lilly trying to go wide. Peters denies her. Lilly stays with it, wins the ball. That was well done. Goes right to the middle. Headed across. Foudy missed it. She may have been looking for Parlow, but I thought she was shooting. Tough to tell from that angle.
Well, Christine Lilly trying to return the favor to Julie Foudy. Finds her at the back post. Similar services. The goal was scored by Lilly. Julie Foudy doesn't quite square up her shoulders. She does the right thing to head the ball back in the direction from where it came from. Elevates herself. Everything was right. You could see at the last second just a little flick of her head instead of hitting straight through the ball.
56th minute. The USA continuing here. Australia with Garriock. 1-0 leads are never safe, obviously, in soccer. But right now, anyway, the way this is going, USA are controlling things. But one big play could change things around. That foul was called by the Romanian referee, Cristina Ionescu. Restart with Australia getting ready. That's Garriock. Off her left foot. And on the bounce, Scurry has it. We're looking for the small but speedy Walsh. Scurry with a toss. Right side, Julie Foudy. 57th minute. Heather Mitz holds. Play it long up the flank. Nobody close enough to that ball. It's Reuter. Back to the goalkeeper. Kell will clear. Off Boxx. Then off Foudy. This is Foudy. It's intercepted. The Aussies play it through the middle. And picked off. Garriock looking long again. Fawcett coming back, heading it back into Walsh's path, and Scurry was alert coming up with it.
I tell you, JP, you go back a couple of years, I don't know that Scurry would have made that save. A very nice job of Scurry to be off of her line, be supporting Joy Fawcett, her center back. That little head touch back could have been a little bit more dangerous had Scurry stayed deeper, which is what her traditional position has been. She's worked so hard at being more aggressive and coming out to make just that kind of a save.
Garriock on that throw. Picked off. Here's Foudy. That right side, 58th minute. And the foul was called against Australia.
Cindy Parlow always spends a lot of time on the ground, and again, I think that's the first time the referee has actually called a back-to-pressure foul in favor of Cindy Parlow. She's been taking a beating, as we've seen in the past games with Abby Wambach as well. It's just such a difficult position. It's a cat-and-mouse game with the defender always trying to gain the space and not allow the forward to get their first touch. The forward always trying to spin the defender.
In the middle there was Christy Rampone, Angela Hucles, and Kristen Luckenbill flanking her. They're among the available subs today for the United States. That's Alagich, who was hurt in that first half. You can see it looks like blood on the left kneecap. We assume obviously that's dried up or she would have had to come off the field. That's probably what took so long earlier to get her back into the lineup. Throw-in coming up. 59th minute for the USA, who leads 1-0 on a Christine Lilly goal. That's Reuter. Wainwright. They continue to try the long ball. Continue looking for Walsh. Back and forth it goes, and Scurry will pick it up. Bry, very vocal. She told us the other day she's less vocal when Joy Fawcett is in the lineup, but still a very vocal presence out there.
She's playing with such confidence, such intensity. And keep in mind, at the last Olympics, Bry was on the bench. She lost her starting spot after the '99 Women's World Cup, and she's done a magnificent job to work herself back in. You look at Brianna Scurry now, and she is just a chiseled physique. I mean, she's so fit, and she's worked so hard to regain her world-class form. In my opinion, she is the top goalkeeper in the country, in the world right now.
Foudy laying it off. Touch goes back. Mitz. That's Hamm. 60th minute. Wagner bumped off the ball. Hamm nearly picked it up and walked in, even though there were 4 defenders back there. Almost got the favorable bounce. Alagich now will clear it. That right flank. Davies kept it going. Boxx going in there so hard. That left side. U.S. can't get it. Davies can. Peters. Peters continues to run. Off a block. Loose ball. Finally cleared out by the United States. Only one player forward right now for the U.S., so Hamm lays it back to Wagner as Parlow continues to go up. Foudy now sends it back to Mitz. Then the switch. Parlow from Markgraf. Tackled away. Boxx follows it through. And thought Hamm was going to break that way. She did not. The ball goes out.
Well, again, that big switch, that big ball from one outside back all the way over to the other outside back is extremely helpful because of the way the Australians defend. If you were to draw a line from one goalkeeper up the middle of the field to the other goalkeeper, they call that the vertical middle. The Australians have a tendency to come all the way across. As the ball's on the right side, they commit all of their players onto that right side. The big switch helps.
Chance there for Australia, but Scurry's right there.
Similar ball, JP, as in the last matchup with Australia. As a ball came in, Peters does a nice job to just one time at trying to catch Brianna Scurry in a no-man's land, if you will. Starting to come, not sure if she's going to strike that ball. Scurry's got to be careful. Doesn't want to make this a tie game at this point. Stay home and be willing to, take that risk.
Alagich is going to be coming off. You could tell that she was laboring, and Lisa Vanna will come in, but this may change the formation because Vanna is more of a midfield type player with very good speed, arguably the fastest player on the team. When we talk about Walsh's speed, this girl's got the wheels too, so we'll see if that makes a change. Maybe we'll see 3 in the back. We'll find out for the Aussies, or someone else may switch. U.S. trying to push it over. would have had a couple of goals the other night, but they were called back on offside calls in the win over Greece.
Well, Vanna is only 19 years old, but they do call her their super sub. She comes in right around this time. And again, just that raw speed, the ability for her to just run at defenses and create problems. The reason she doesn't play earlier in the game, hasn't quite developed her fitness as much. Similar type of personality, similar role as we have from Heather O'Reilly for the United States.
So we'll see what Australia does here. They brought in clearly an attacking player, though, taking out a pure defender as Lilly plays it over. Wagner across the way. That's the second sub for Australia. Of the 3 that are allowed, USA yet to make a change. Foudy, right side. Mitz. This is Hamm. 2 defenders there. Mia still very much at the top of her game, even though she says this will be it in terms of international play for the USA, tournament-wise. Wants to go out in style once the Olympics are over. I'm sure there'll be other games like farewell games, so it's not her final match per se, but final tournament. She's already said that. And the game will miss her, for sure.
Well, absolutely. Mia Hamm's the kind of player you don't replace. You know, people say, oh, the next Mia Hamm. We hear this all the time in recruiting. I have the next Mia Hamm for you, Coach Walker, and I always laugh. You don't replace Mia Hamm. Mia Hamm is what she is. It's similar, you know, when Michelle Akers retired, you don't replace you don't replace Michelle Akers. She's been compared to Wambach, and Wambach said herself, I am my own player.
So another sub up there getting ready to come on for Australia. That was Jillian Foster.
Have another look here at Peters taking a one-time shot there on Scurry. Again, Bry's feet are so good. That's one of her strengths. Has an easy time handling that as it comes towards the crossbar.
You see Walsh giving a signal there to Garriock, where she wants to put the ball, but it's going the other way instead. Australia looking for a good opportunity. It's one right there, but Brianna Scurry is sure-handed, no rebounds. There's a 16-year-old Shipard who sent it on the ground from distance.
Shipard does a nice job to collect this ball and to keep it low with all that traffic coming out from the corner. Corner kick, you could hear Scurry saying, get out, get out. As that line stepping forward, it creates a lot of congestion in there. It's a good time to rip a ball on the ground because sometimes the goalkeeper can be screened.
Garriock was there if there was a rebound. USA with an edge in the shots, 11-5. He just kept it going. Scurry comes out and got it. And that's what you were talking about before, coming out anticipating. Otherwise, the speed of Walsh alone, she's going to break in.
Well, and this is, I think, where it helps Brianna Scurry training against Mia Hamm. She knows how to read these. She knows what a fast player looks like. She does a nice job to get a hold of this ball. Her whole body is behind the ball. There's no way the toe poke there from Walsh is going to knock that ball out and keep it in play.
Julie Foudy will hold it, 66th minute. Heather Mitz back for Foudy. USA leading on a Christine Lilly goal. Mia Hamm just got clipped as Mitz floats it up, and it's caught by Cassandra Kell. Kell took a quick look up, but saw no one open. Now we'll send it long. Headed up by Reddick. And off Joy Fawcett. Australia with Peters. Peters can't get through. USA will clear. Jillian Foster continues to stretch on the sideline. She will become Australia's third sub once they allow the change, and it might be here. It is. Jillian Foster will be coming in. Danielle Small will come out. Foster, number 14, 5'6", 27 years of age, was on the World Cup team as a starter, and now we're going to see some changes for the USA, and the future, if you will, Mia Hamm being replaced by Heather O'Reilly, maybe something we'll see when the final tournament is over. Heather O'Reilly, a projected player to start possibly in Mia's absence.
Well, Heather O'Reilly has been successful at every level that she's played at. She was a youth player with the PDA club out of New Jersey. She's been on the U19 World Cup championship team and now making, you know, an impact with this U.S. team coming in off the bench. Tremendous speed, tremendous 1v1 ability, and ability to get in behind.
So Mia Hamm is able to get a break. And that's probably good because it's been a physical tournament. She's been banged around in previous games and even in this one too, so let the body rest a little bit. Big chase the other way. Scurry's back. Fawcett came back in a hurry. It's a decent opportunity. That time, I'm assuming Fawcett probably had some communication there with Brian because Brian has stayed back.
Tremendous job by Joy Fawcett to continue to track. There are many players, certainly younger players, that might have given up on that. Couldn't get a body on her initially, but Joy continues to track and just does enough to knock it out of bounds.
It was Lisa Nevada who made that run. You can see she makes them faster. Here's a long shot. Scurry's right there.
Nice job by Scurry to step up and just collect that ball. Both Lilly and I believe it was Heather Mitz were in behind her. Actually, it was Wagner that were right there in behind her, protecting that goal, making it smaller just in case something were to sneak past Scurry. Nice framing of the goal by the U.S. on defense.
Shot by Jillian Foster. 69th minute. USA continues to lead. It's an interesting switch, too, that the USA just made. With Tarpley coming in, Boxx coming out, nobody really plays Boxx's spot, so we may see Foudy drop back there. That's not a normal position, certainly for Lindsay Tarpley, who's more of an attacker.
Well, it's certainly a deeper position than she's used to, but Tarpley, I think, is the future of this U.S. women's soccer team. As some of these players retire, Lindsay Tarpley is going to become a superstar. Again, another player at the youth level has been tremendously successful. She won a national championship with the Michigan Hawks. She was the golden goal scorer at the U19 championships in 2002 in Canada. I mean, this is a player who just finds success every place she plays. The University of North Carolina last year winning a national championship 27-0.
Yep, didn't lose a game. This is Tarpley on the ball. She's played in each of these 3 Olympic games. Right side it goes to Mitz. And it'll roll out of play.
I tell you, JP, whoever's drawn the University of North Carolina on the opening weekend in the college soccer season's pretty happy that O'Reilly and Tarpley won't be there. I was hoping the same would happen for my Buckeyes as we drew Canada, and I was hoping that we wouldn't have to face a couple of their players. I'm sorry, not drew Canada, drew Portland, and was hoping that we wouldn't have to face their Canadian superstar.
Long ball the other way by Kell. U.S. scrambling back for it. That was Tarpley. And it will go out. Tarpley becomes the only player now to play in every USA game this year. She and Abby Wambach shared that designation, but Wambach suspended today because of the 2 yellow cards in those first 2 games. So Tarpley is the only one now that can make that claim. Here's Markgraf. On that left side, it's tackled out. USA continues to lead 1-0 on a Christine Lilly goal. That quick throw in. Parlow trying to get around. That's Salisbury. Physical players, it goes out. Goal kick. And one would think that April Heinrichs has to be more pleased, maybe not with the score per se, but with the way her team has responded after that last game against Brazil.
Well, certainly, and I think that as we all get to know April Heinrichs more and watch how she likes to run this team, continuity is a big selling point for her. She wants her players to play with confidence, and she wants her players to have an idea of what to expect. And, you know, I think that they have found some continuity in this half. They're playing much more together, and we'll see what happens as there are many changes. And as you said, JP, right there, you can see Julie Foudy in more of that defensive role. It's been interesting to watch Foudy, you know, in this role at playing in the center of the midfield is more of her best position. She's being asked to play out of position a little bit and certainly doesn't play into what her strengths are. Whenever you take a player out of position, you ask them to play wide. The #1 responsibility of a wide midfielder is to have pace, and we all know that that's not Julie Foudy's strength. So maybe this will help her to kind of settle in and to regain some confidence in her game.
Well, the addition of Shannon Boxx, obviously you have to play Shannon in that spot, so it did change Foudy's position, as you mentioned, here in the 72nd minute. Out of town scores. Germany over Mexico 1-0. Germany will win that group, and Mexico should be advancing. That's a second half score. And Brazil 6-0. Yellow card just shown to Cindy Parlow. Nigeria, how about Sweden coming back? They can qualify, but they need that victory today, or at least get a point, I should say.
You don't see this often in the women's game, JP. I think that Parlow is going to be carded here for what the referee's going to call a dive. Cheryl Salisbury's hands were all over her, And you can watch the expression here on Parlow's face as she reaches in to grab that card of utter surprise.
It was the old "you've got to be kidding me" look. So the yellow card on Parlow, it's the only booking of the day. Off a block. Parlow scrambling. Almost won that ball back, but instead it's Australia. 73rd minute. Pushed long. Foudy helped to win it back for Fawcett. And then right side, ball played forward towards young Heather O'Reilly. Just a couple of years for O'Reilly out of high school. O'Reilly bringing it down. Tarpley holding. Trying to float it up. And a late run there with a keeper down and out. Lilly will pick it up. Kell scrambles to get back in goal. Lilly in front. Wanted Parlow. That's cleared away. U.S. goes back after it. Fawcett floats it up. Right to Kell.
JP, we've got to give Cindy Parlow credit. She has been a starter on this team. Her role has changed recently for her to come in to this game. In the absence of Abby Wambach, she's done a very nice job to settle things down and give confidence again to the U.S. attack. Playing with her feet, receiving balls at all different angles. I think her performance today has been really outstanding.
And we're going to see Angela Hucles come in for Allie Wagner, and that will be the third and final sub that the USA is able to make. And we'll now see how this changes things. Who will become Wagner? Will it be Tarpley like she did in the other couple of games and Hucles plays elsewhere? Or will Hucles maybe take that spot?
I would think that Hucles will play in that attacking midfield spot, leave Tarpley outside, utilize her speed on the outside, and allow Hucles to help solidify things in the midfield there with Julie Foudy.
Tarpley playing it up off Hucles. Hucles is from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Salisbury. So each team has used their allotment of subs, 3 each. And the USA continues to lead here. If this result stands, or any kind of a win for the United States, or a draw for that matter, they would win the group, as they were expected to do. So no surprise there. Only surprise has been, in some respects, the way they played. Certainly in that Brazil game, that's where a lot of questions were raised, but everyone expected them to win their first 3 games. Reddick across the way. Mitz keeps it on the ground for Hucles. Hucles will switch it wide. She and Christine Lilly were teammates with the Boston Breakers of the WSA, so they know each other well. Markgraf was too, and she plays it over. Foudy. Hucles. And the fresh legs don't pay off yet. Now they do with Hucles winning. Lilly's wide on the left. She has the game's only goal. Foudy had the assist on it. Sent in high and wide. That's off target. Heather O'Reilly, 143 goals in high school.
Well, this is a tremendous opportunity for both teams to dig deep into their bench. Heather O'Reilly is able to face up there. Maybe a good chance for her to actually take on, instead of shooting from that distance, take on and do what she does best. See if she can get inside of the box and maybe get herself her goal.
Australia will clear. It's knocked down on the right. Mitz. And Fawcett will clear. Referee's whistle will stop play. USA leading Australia 1-0. From the results we've given you before, USA should be winning the group. Brazil should be finishing in that second spot, and Australia should finish in third, and all 3 teams would be advancing. We keep pointing out the way it is with the 10 teams. You're playing 1 round to eliminate 2 teams. That's it. Deflected away off Parlow. Be a throw-in coming up.
Well, it was certainly an interesting tournament layout when it first came out, and now that we're into this tournament, we've seen the number of changes that FIFA's had to make in addressing the format. I don't think that you're ever going to see a 10-team tournament again at the international level.
Format was bad when it started. I think it's even worse as you're going along. And at the end of the day, we'll be able to tell you who is out. Greece should be out, obviously, with the record. The mathematics indicate that now, but the only question now will be, will Sweden advance or will China? Right now, Sweden's leading Nigeria. That means they would go through. China would be out. Here's Lilly going left. Off the referee, Lilly will get it back. 78th minute. That one's cleared away. U.S. gets it back. This is Foudy. Parlow back. Mitz. Tarpley running it right, then crossing it. Slipped there in the box as the ball is cleared out, and Peters picks it up. Germany has added a second goal over Mexico as Fawcett looks to play it up the wing. So Germany have now scored, what, 10 goals in this tournament? Haven't given one up. Foudy pushing forward. Lilly goes hard after it, couldn't get it. O'Reilly lays it back. 79th minute, USA leading Australia 1-0. The goal coming in the 19th minute by Lilly.
Well, it's good to see the United States is reestablishing their rhythm with the number of subs that occurred in such a short period of time. It's very often that a team will lose that rhythm, and the United States has reestablished that. They're sticking to the same game plan. It doesn't look like they've changed anything defensively. And again, it's just getting a lot of quality minutes for some of the reserve players, as well as giving some rest to some of the starters for the United States.
Here's Hucles looking up, wants to have a go, and does. Goalkeeper went down in the full dive, but it was just wide. 80th minute.
Hucles is one of those versatility players that April Heinrichs likes to refer to. She'll shoot from anywhere. Her left foot is as strong as her right, and there I think she had 2 U.S. players that were looking to try and run across the top of the 18, but decided herself to take a crack at it.
You talked about the subs and giving players a rest. Before the tournament started, we thought Joy Fawcett would be one of those players rested, but the fact that she will now play in 3 straight full 90s is telling us that her back must be okay. Offside on Parlow.
Well, it's pretty common in a tournament like this not to make changes to your back line. You see that very often at all kinds of different levels where you get into a mode with your back line. It's so important for them to be in sync, the way that they have to move together in a flat system, and it's very rare to make a change. Having Rampone have an opportunity to rest today, I believe that that decision was made yesterday before FIFA made their ruling in changing the yellow card situation. And April Heinrichs, the head coach of the U.S. team, just decided to stick with it. Heather Mitz certainly has proven over time that she is a fantastic defender and adds a lot to the U.S. back line.
Getting 11 straight starts during the course of this calendar year helped Mitz settle in and helped her gain a spot on this team. Throw in coming up. That is good news, though, that Fawcett has not come out, because there was speculation before that if they could have rested her, they might have tried to do that. So again, that's good. She had a back problem at the start. And here's Scurry talking, always communicating. This ball comes in and Fawcett clears it away. USA about 10 minutes and some stoppage time away from 3 straight shutouts as well. They've not allowed a goal in this tournament. On the right, that's Mitz. Out of play. Another throw in for Australia. That is Heather Mitz out of the University of Florida. And she spent 3 years with the Philadelphia Charge, WUSA team.
I spoke to Heather's college coach, Becky Burley, from the University of Florida, and I asked her, you know, what has Heather changed? What has she done to help put herself on the map? As many will remember, she was in the studio for the 2003 Women's World Cup, and she's just made a commitment to her fitness and commitment to her confidence level that she deserves to play at this level. Her tracking speed.
There's the first one. Australia has tied it up with that ball in the air. And Brian Scurry's shutout streak has ended. That's a well-taken goal by Peters, and it's 1-1.
Well, there's always this danger as substitution changes are made Peters does a nice job to elevate herself. She actually comes back for this ball, elevates herself, and has to redirect her whole body to get a flick. Scurry not necessarily out of position, but the trajectory of that ball just goes up, 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 and just dies underneath that post.
So Joanne Peters will tie it. Aussie fans can celebrate as Australia have tied up the United States. 82nd minute, Joanne Peters with a goal. And Adrian Santrak has to be proud of his team and their effort there, getting the equalizer. Meanwhile, Germany continues to lead Mexico 2-0. Brazil has now made it a 7-0 lead over Greece. So Greece had a bad start against the U.S. and a bad finish against Brazil. Their best game was against the Aussies in Game 2. Joanne Peters, nice goal in the air. Now back the other way. That was Walsh knocked away. So now that safe 1-0 lead is no longer safe, obviously, in the 1-1 game.
Well, and once again, this doesn't necessarily change the outcome of the tournament, but it certainly might change, again, that confidence that the United States has in being a dominant power in the world. Again, a ball comes in. Markgraf not able to get the pressure on it. It's just scooping in. You can see Peters comes back and gets in front of Foudy. Not a whole lot that Brandon Scurry is going to be able to do to get to that ball.
USA to win the group, needing a win or a draw, and they have the draw right now. Got to give Brazil the win, obviously, in their game. That would give them 6 points, tying the USA right now. But if the USA wins this, they would have 7.
A constant theme in this tournament has been the gap that's closing, and with 3 players from Australia participating in the WUSA, the familiarity that these players have with the U.S. has now decreased that fear, and there isn't that intimidation anymore by the United States. There's a lot of young players on this Australia team, and they believe in their hearts that they have an opportunity to continue to go forward, and certainly tying the United States would be a tremendous result.
Through on the right. This is Garriock. You know, if the USA were to lose this game, there's a chance they wouldn't finish in first place, depending on the score of the other game and the way Brazil is turning it up against Greece. Those numbers could work in Brazil's favor. They were up 7-0 at last count. Brazil starting the day at -1. If USA was a +5, it would be an incredible score that you'd need. So many possibilities in the opening round. We're trying to eliminate a bunch of those for you before we go off air here in the 86th minute. Garriock's throwing. 1-1 game. Peters for Australia. Lilly for the United States as that ball is cleared away. I remember saying before, 1-0 is never a safe lead, but the U.S. was in control. But now you make the subs, like you say, and things do change, and you're one big play away from what we see now.
Well, definitely. I think the difference right now is the U.S. has kind of settled down. The game is 90 minutes, and it's important for the U.S. to play for 90 minutes. They've slowed down. They're not as in the face of each of the Australian players as they have the ball, and that was what made the difference in the first half. Closing down that space, not allowing the Australians to play, not allowing the Australians to serve.
Shipard to the right. Australia looking up. Headed forward. That will go out of play. Throw in for the United States in the 87th minute. There's your goal scored. Joanne Peters. Christine Lilly for the United States. And it's 1-1 here. Lilly again. Far side. That's Christine Lilly. Holding. And now Australia will break it up. Peters lost it there. The 87th minute, 1-1 game. Final game for these two teams and all the women in the opening round. These two teams will be advancing into the quarterfinals. Still waiting to see how the final results end up with the other games going on today, too. And the last we heard, with Sweden leading, China could join Greece as being the two teams to be eliminated. Kell will put the ball back into play. 88th minute, 1-1 game. Kell going long. Intended for Shipard. Australia looking for Walsh. And that goes out of play. Markgraf. The Aussies try to get it back near the halfway line. That's cleared by Fawcett. U.S. settling with Hucles. It's pushing up. Rolls it on the ground. The run by Tarpley was cut off, but she stays with it. Getting it away from Reuter. Still there. Bouncing off one challenge. Tarpley is able to cross. Settle in. And then shot too high. Parlow with that chance, but great work and hard work by Tarpley.
Tremendous patience by Lindsay Tarpley just to keep that ball in bounds. She does a nice job just to keep the ball alive. Looks up, she sees Cindy Parlow. Parlow's in a great spot. Does a good job to bring the ball down, but you can see closing quickly on her two Australian defenders.
Parlow starting today for the suspended Abby Wambach, who will return for the quarterfinals. And Cindy's going to get a full 90-minute game here under her belt. Australia's ball in the 89th minute. Salisbury put it back into play. That long free kick, not close to anyone. Garriock was the closest to it. The U.S. will put it back into play. 90th minute now. Stoppage time will be put on for all the subs that were made. So there could be a few minutes put on. We'll wait for the signal as Reddick clears. Reddick to the halfway line. Hucles tried for it, couldn't get it. Sent forward. Sarah Walsh couldn't use her speed, but she's able to lay it off. Now the return, the offside flag goes up on Vanna. She put it over the bar anyway with Scurry challenging, but that flag came up in a hurry.
Risky spot at this point. You can see Heather Mitt steps up. Nice job for her to redraw the line and reestablish herself with Joy Fawcett catching Walsh right off sides as that ball's played.
Mitt has it tackled out. And she's slow to get back up. Signal being given for stoppage time, but couldn't read it. There you go. 3 minutes. Added on. 1-1 game, USA and Australia. Into stoppage time now as Markgraf makes the run. Kate with a look up, finds Hucles trying to make a cut, broken up there. And back comes Australia. USA must come back and defend. Australia looking to spring one of their speedier players. There she is, Vanna. It's Vanna trying to go wide of Mitts. Got the cross off, but Scurry is right there. From that left side, Kate Markgraf will bring it up. And that was a hard challenge there from Salisbury, and the foul was called. Parlow was knocked down.
The U.S. needs to take advantage of this, slow things down, see if they can mount one last attack. Allow Parlow to get into a position where she could possibly finish. Try and get forward into the box. Serve the box. They still have an opportunity to go for a win here, but the U.S. needs to keep the pressure up.
Foudy will play it back to Markgraf. Switched over. Mitts pushing forward. Parlow nods it down. Hucles couldn't come around on it. Still is a challenging shot there. Finally came down to Kell. Kell will put it back into play with time running out on this. Into stoppage time. 3 minutes were added on. Headed up there at that halfway line. Foudy got to it. The foul called. The U.S. taking their time on the restart. Markgraf rolls it. Knocked away by Australia. Coming back. Peters. Her goal tied it. The look up was blocked. Fawcett coming back. Melissa will bring that ball back. Ready for the free kick. Time running out. Other scores today. How about Brazil? 7-0 over Greece. So they'll finish second in this group. Sweden over Nigeria 2-1. That will make sure that Sweden will advance into the next round and that China will be out along with Greece.
I don't think anybody would have guessed that coming into this tournament, JP.
This ball knocked out. That's going to do it. So the USA and Australia will each get a point out of this one as the final score ends up 1-1. So the USA, 3 different games so far, Lori, in this tournament.
Well, I think that the United States put together about 75 to 80 minutes of good soccer, and they're going to be pleased with the opportunity to get 3 subs on the field. But giving up a goal late in that game is going to be disappointing, resulting in a tie. The U.S. has never lost in the first round of the Olympic tournament. They are 6-0-3 at this point. They're going to be disappointed with that, but again, it doesn't change the outcome very much.
Well, they'll win the group, and they'll look forward to their next game, which will be in the quarterfinal stage. Christine Lilly scoring in the 19th minute. Joanne Peters in the 82nd minute. The game ends in a 1-1 tie between the United States and Australia.
So just to be clear, even with the 1-1 tie, the United States clinches Group G. They will advance to Friday's single elimination quarterfinal round.